When Lucy turned 13, she moved with her father to Japan from Colombia due to his job. They arrived to Shizuoka Prefecture and rented a small house to live in. Her dad did research work at one of the universities while Lucy attended a school at Shizuoka closest to their home. During the first week, her dad was able to drive Lucy to school and also to pick her up after. Things were going fine. She started to make new friends, her Japanese was improving, and overall had a great time. But then, Lucy's dad started to work more hours, and in order to spend the weekends with her, he decided to change his routine, meaning he wouldn't be able to drive her or pick her up from school anymore. Lucy had no problem being on her own, and she reassured him that everything was going to be okay. The first 2 weeks walking alone was perfectly fine, until the Tuesday of the third week. Lucy was on her usual route to school, and then a man around his 30s approached her with a kind smile on his face. He greeted her in English and started to say things such as, "It's a nice day," "I should have brought my dog," and "I remember I used to take this way to school." Lucy tried to be polite since it was common to have people from the area approaching her and her dad for small talk. And since Japanese people are so kind and polite, she did the same as well. She told this man that she really needed to hurry for school. He looked at her, quite disappointed, but smiled again and said, "Oh sure, you must be a really good student. Always on time. I hope to see you again." The next day, she saw him again. This time, he told her that he actually had seen Lucy and her dad since they arrived, and how he noticed that her dad was no longer driving her to school. He then handed her a plastic bag full of candies and cookies. After that, he finally let her go. In the bag, there were also notes that said, "Have a nice day at school. You are smart. You are pretty." The following day, Lucy decided to confront him. Before he offered one of his gifts, she stopped him and told him he made her uncomfortable and to stop being around her. And all of a sudden, he snapped, and the man started yelling at Lucy, saying she's ungrateful, that she was mistaking their friendship. He pretended to be hurt, and Lucy fell for it. "I should have told my father before," Lucy said. "I should have told him everything." Initially, she felt embarrassed and wanted to resolve the problem by herself. One day, her class had a school trip to the Aokigahara forest. The trip was going well. They were walking near the area of the forest and the surroundings, and were divided by groups of 10 with one teacher at the head. It was going to be a long walk, so everyone was told to go to the restroom beforehand. Each of the students were wearing identification, and when they came back, Lucy suddenly realized that she lost hers, and thought to run back to the restroom to check and see if she dropped it just before her teacher would notice and scold her for losing it. After checking the restroom and not finding her ID, she decided to give up and get back to her group. But then, the guy appeared again. He greeted Lucy and then asked, "What are you doing here?" Feeling shocked and freaked out to see him, Lucy told him that she was in a school trip and that she needed to hurry up and get back to find her group. But before she could get away from him, he said, "Don't you need your ID?" Lucy froze. She looked back at him, and he smiled, then said, "I found it on the ground. I recognized your pretty face, so I put it in my car. Let's go get it before you get in trouble." At this point, Lucy was terrified. He started to look more sinister, and she couldn't say anything. Seeing she wasn't responding, the man grabbed her arm and began to pull her. Lucy snapped and freed from his grip and started to run away. He followed behind, running fast while calling out, "Lucy-chan! Lucy-chan, what are you doing? Come back here!" She continued running. She didn't realize that she entered the forest and was now without direction. After running for who knows how long, she no longer heard the man's voice. Her whole body felt heavy, and Lucy couldn't catch her breath. She looked around and everything seemed the same. There was silence. She continued walking for a while until she came across a tending camp. Lucy felt relief when she saw a man come out. She proceeded to tell him everything that happened. He seemed confused and a bit scared of her, But after seeing Lucy crying, he changed his expression to a more warming one. He listened to everything quietly until she finished. They both agreed to call the cops and alert the authorities of the place. Thankfully, he knew the way back to the entrance of the forest, and two of the forest keepers were walking there. His name is Yuki, and Yuki told them in Japanese everything that Lucy had told him. The forest keepers brought them to an information area where they called the police and told them to wait there. They also sent other forest keepers to look for the classmates and alert them about the guy. Meanwhile, Yuki tried to comfort Lucy, telling her what he was doing in the woods. He said that his younger brother passed away 5 years ago, and since then, he's been going to the forest on his brother's birthday to honor him. When the police arrived, she told the officer everything that happened while another group of police officers searched the area. They finally found the guy in the forest. They arrested him and searched his car for evidence, and found tape, rope, and a knife. She thanked Yuki for saving her life, and shortly after, the trip ended and the school called her father. He immediately rushed to the school, but he didn't scold Lucy that day. He just hugged her, and she cried on his shoulder.